Joel Klatt, Colorado quarterback for 3 memorable years.
I don't know about memorable.
I remember you.
Kristine, you took the bait. I'm not going to wink at Colin. Not winking at you.
Did you watch the Tom Brady breakdown?
What did you make of that? You see it?
I didn't see it, no.
Oh, God. We'll do that at the end.
Okay,
so I saw this thing about Notre Dame's being snubbed. I did my top 10 this week, and I jammed my toe into a door this weekend.
Okay.
Bloodied it. So I was basically hobbled Sunday. I sat 2.5 hours. I broke down. I went to depth charts, and I had my top 10. And I don't know if we have. I had so much fun.
it's like a Sunday in my life.
Oh, God, it was so much fun.
I don't even need to jam my toe into
And I didn't
a
have
door.
Notre Dame in my top 10 because their schedule's tough, and they won 4 games. So Charlie, and I said earlier today, stop telling me Notre Dame's snubbed. Here was Charlie Weiss earlier this week talking about Notre Dame.
Need to know when you go in there, it's a different program. It's different. I mean, grades and going to school and getting your degree is going to matter. You know, high character is going to matter. Okay, football is going to matter. You know, I always just say in recruiting, it's like a pie. There's 3 things that are involved. Okay, character, academics. Okay, character, academics, and can you play? And if you were missing any of those ingredients, okay, then you really can't play there.
What do you make of that?
Sounds like a lot of excuses for a guy that underachieved as a head coach at a couple of different places. I don't buy it at all. Not at all. Listen, Charlie, and Brian, for that matter, Brian Kelly, academics cannot be an excuse. It's not an excuse. Don't use it because the data doesn't back you up. You can whine and cry all you want about tough academics and tough academic standards, but the data doesn't back you up. All you have to do is go to the U.S. News top 30 universities in our country.
I love that magazine.
Okay? Top 30. Of the top 30, you have 12 schools that play Power 5 football. Of the top 30. 8 of them had a better record than Notre Dame last year. Michigan, Stanford, USC, double-digit wins. UNC had a first-round quarterback. Wake Forest won 7 games, over 500. Northwestern constantly competes at a high level with Pat Fitzgerald. Vanderbilt has had stretches of success. And this is even when. So 8 schools have had a better record than Notre Dame, and that's even with UCLA and Duke tying them at 4 wins. So you don't even include them as teams with better records. So stop telling me, Notre Dame people, that academics are preventing you from being good.
Hey, Stanford right now is a top 15 program. And their academics are through. Stanford's a better college than Notre Dame. And it's a better school than Notre Dame.
Annually, it's a better school. And annually, right now, it's a better football program. And they have the toughest requirements as far as academics are concerned for admissions for their student athletes. Did you know that Stanford's the only program in the country playing Power 5 football that has to get the student athlete accepted into their school before they can sign a letter of intent? They have to be fully accepted to Stanford before David Shaw can actually sign him to a letter of intent. Oh, but Notre Dame is too tough. We can't win football because of academics. Give me a break. I can't stand it. That was such an excuse from Charlie Weiss.
I will say this. David Shaw told me once I was talking about USC's scholarship limitations, and David Shaw said, hey, Herd, stop. He goes, we're on constant scholarship limitations. I said, what do you mean? He goes, you ever try to get 85 guys qualified?
Yeah.
He goes, we play at like 75. We can't find enough guys that qualify. He goes, because our standards are so high.
Think about it like this. Alabama is the best recruiting team in the country. Nick Saban's the best recruiter in the country, followed very closely by Urban Meyer and Ohio State. Those guys have national recruiting bases, great fertile grounds in their own backyard. They can go anywhere and get into any living room. And they're trying to find the best 25 players out of a pool of the top 350, right? 400, 450 that you'd say are good enough to play at those schools. Well, Stanford is trying to recruit and compete on those levels, and there are probably only 70 at most high school players in the country that are good enough to compete on that level and have the academics to even sniff Stanford. So David Shaw literally has to get a third to a half of the players that can even qualify for his school to come to Stanford. That's a tough recruiting job now. That's a tough recruiting job. And they're winning Rose Bowls and Pac-12 championships. So don't tell me Notre Dame is too tough to compete at the highest levels.
And been owning USC for years. I just had a discussion yesterday with a USC coach, and he's like, Stanford's the game for us.
Yeah, Stanford's a tough one. By the way, week 2 on Fox, we're going to have that, right, to kick off the season. September 9th? We're going to have that. By the way, I know you always throw cold water on the whole, like, they're too far north, Notre Dame. It's too cold. It's not glitzy enough. It's not glamorous enough.
Yeah.
Did you know 50% of the top 10 in the final AP poll last year were at 40 degrees latitude or higher? That's where South Bend is. Ohio State, Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan, and Washington, all north of Notre Dame. So there goes that argument, too. So weather's not a factor. Academics are not a factor. Come on, Notre Dame. You can be better than this, and you should be better than this.
We were talking about the hot seat. We have a picture here. I just got the Vegas odds this morning on the coaches on the hot seat, and they had Jim Mora number 1. And I'm like, Jim Mora is on the hot seat. First of all, he's got a winning conference record. He's won bowl games, winning record against USC. And I showed an actual live photo of Butch Jones at Tennessee. To me, there's not even a second place with Butch Jones. And we have a picture of this. This is a live camera of Butch Jones right now.
That's it? That's the live shot?
His chair's on fire in his office. To me, he's the coach that's in big trouble.
Yeah, I think Butch is in trouble. I think Jim certainly has to win this year. I think it's hard. So when I think about coaches on the hot seat, you can throw a lot of guys in there. You can throw Todd Graham and Rich Rodriguez and Kevin Sumlin and Brett Bielema. And there's a lot of guys out there that are going through this year. And Jim Mora falls into that category. A lot of this depends on 2 factors. Has your program invested heavily monetarily, or more so than they have in their history in the recent 2 or 3 years? All of those generally have, including UCLA that's just opening up their brand new beautiful football building as we speak. And then 2, are your expectations maybe outside of where historically your school or program sits?
Oh, yes.
And all of those you can say, the expectations currently are a little higher than where their programs sit.
You're talking
historically
about
in college
for
football.
Texas A&M.
Absolutely, Texas A&M. I'm saying that. Think about Texas A&M. They were an average Big 12 school, moved to the SEC, lightning in a bottle with Johnny Manziel. Then they invest $400 million to build their new stadium. They pay Kevin Sumlin $5 million, and all of a sudden they think they should be annually a top 10 team. That's not what your program is.
They've never been that.
You're third tier in your own division. And you got to let Kevin Sumlin. In college football in general, I think we hire and fire guys way too quickly. We don't give them time. And all of these coaches, I think you could say maybe just need a little bit more time.
Does a coach need to be a jerk? I'll ask Joel Klatt that next. And he's got his top 5 quarterbacks in college football, and there are a couple that are out of the list. And
you're not happy about it?
One of them,
What if I wink at you? Will you be happy about it then?
I would consider reinstatement in the show.
Hey, you know what? I thought about something. If Russell Westbrook winked at you, would you like him again?
He's in.
If Russell Westbrook went to, it was at a game, Laker game, and he stopped mid-dribble and turned to me and winked, I would recuse my comments.
In for life.
Okay.
It's the Herd. Voice of college football at Fox, Joel Klatt. First of all, let's start with this. Do you have to be a jerk? I mean, I've always said the 10% jerk. Mark Helfrich doesn't have any jerk. And Derek Dooley doesn't have any jerk. And that I love
Neither really does David Shaw, we were just talking about.
He was kind of a jerk when he interrupted me once about the scholarship thing. Okay, so
and he didn't wink at you. That's always a knock.
What do you make of the jerk belief?
I mean, there are certainly guys out there that you could classify as that, right? Hard-nosed, if you're trying to be more
control freaks,
mini dictators, if you will. I don't think it has anything to do with style. All different styles have had success. The one thing and the one constant, I believe coaches at all levels that have success generally have consistent behavioral expectations. And that's, I mean, listen, if you're a leader out there, if you're a boss of anything, the best thing you can do for your organization is set consistent behavioral expectations. Because if you're running a race, okay, Usain Bolt this weekend is running his last 100 meter in the world. Now he says he's going to retire, but just for sake of an analogy, Usain Bolt, do you think he would be this great if the finish line always moved? Like one day it's 60 yards, and so his poor starts maybe get him, and then the next day it's 120, so his long stride's going to make a... No, none of us are very good at anything if the finish line always moves. And so great coaches set consistent behavioral expectations. And it does two things primarily, Colin, two things. One is it allows for your subjects, or in this case, the players, to gain a tremendous amount of confidence because you know exactly where you're at as it relates to that finish line or bar of expectation. You know where you're at, how far you are from it, if you're exceeding it, and how high. The other thing that it does is it allows for internal ownership because if you set consistent behavioral expectations, leadership is going to come to the fruition in the locker room because those leaders know what to hold others accountable for.
That's a good point.
And so when that leadership takes place, the ownership in the locker room is tremendous. And when players feel like they own the team, they play harder, they play better, they play more disciplined, and ultimately you're a better football team. I think those principles translate across football to other sports and even in business endeavors as well.
Here's the preseason coaches poll brought to you by Amway. Is there a team that you don't buy in the preseason poll? Bama, Ohio State, Florida State, USC, Clemson, Penn State, Washington, Oklahoma, Michigan, Wisconsin. I have all of them.
I buy all of those.
Michigan's got one defensive returning starter.
Oh, okay, great. I mean, what'd they have Harbaugh's first year? A quarterback from Iowa that got beat out by C.J. Beathard and he had to transfer and he was going to be a first time. I mean, he had known Jim Harbaugh for like 37 minutes and he's going to start at Utah.
You're very pro Harbaugh.
Of course I am because he's a great coach. He's succeeded at every level of football that he's ever been at. San Diego, Stanford, the 49ers, and now at Michigan.
Only one SEC team.
Well, the SEC is great on top. They've got a great program in Alabama and then a bunch of average teams right now. I think LSU is the second best team in the SEC. Wouldn't you agree, though?
When's the last time you liked them at quarterback?
I mean, it's been forever since what? Matt Flynn?
I mean, I'm sorry. It's like Wisconsin. I always like them. I never love them. They're never great at quarterback outside of 1 year with Russell Wilson.
Wisconsin's going to be a good team this year. I mean, the poll, here's the thing. The preseason polls, I can't stand that we assign some basis to these teams when they haven't played. The cycle in college football is much quicker than the NFL, so these teams are brand new each and every year, and it's a subjective sport. Listen, like it or not, this is not a cut and dry, we're going to crown a national championship. It's cut and dry in the NFL. You qualify for the playoffs. The standard is very clear. And then you go and you try to win the Super Bowl. In college football, subjectivity matters.
Yeah.
And we assign this basis in the preseason. And then all of a sudden these games, the Alabama-Florida State winner is going to ride that wave for a long time, maybe right into the playoff. And they're going to be able to lose. And all. Well, what if the other team falls flat on their face? Okay, A&M got a huge bump last year from beating UCLA, who turned out to be a really bad team, a 4-win team, to the point that last year in the first iteration of the playoff rankings, A&M was number 4. What? 4. And that's all due to preseason hype. I wish we would get away from that. Having said that, I do my own poll in the preseason. Check it out on foxsports.com.
Quick comment. Have you ever been
shameless?
You ever been a member of Amway? It's called the Amway.
I haven't, actually.
I never wanted to buy deodorant from a cousin. I wanted to buy it from a store.
Yeah.
All right. Here are your top quarterbacks in college football. This is interesting. You leave out the best one potentially in Josh Allen from Wyoming and Josh Rosen from UCLA.
This isn't a list about NFL prospects.
So it's just what?
This is the college quarterbacks I believe are going to have the best season this year. These are the best quarterbacks this season in college football, college quarterbacks.
Sam Darnold, J.T. Barrett, this Rudolph kid, Mason Rudolph, is really good for Oklahoma State. Baker Mayfield I like. And McSorley is a little shrimpy.
So
I
had a lot of debate. Listen, everyone, I'm getting a lot of pushback, in particular in social media, because I didn't have Lamar Jackson in there. Why can't you have the Heisman Trophy winner? Listen, I think Lamar Jackson's a fantastic player. He didn't make my quarterback list because I was debating he and Trace McSorley a lot, and it came down to this. I think McSorley's a better quarterback. Jackson's a better player. And when you go to their last 3 games of last season, here's the line for Lamar Jackson. 0-3. A 109 rating, 48% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 22 sacks taken. Meanwhile, the last 3 for Trace McSorley, 68%, 12 touchdowns, wins the Big Ten championship, 12 yards per attempt. He was sensational. So based on what I saw at the tail end of last season, McSorley edged out Lamar Jackson for that 5th spot.